Recently, I did a video talking about a film called Mr. Vampire, which was a film that I watched on a season of Chinese ghost story films that was shown in the early 90s on Channel 4 in Britain around about Christmas time. And this led me to go and watch some of the other films that I remember watching at that time. Now, funnily enough, the film A Chinese Ghost Story was, I think, shown on a different channel, but around about the same time. I think it was shown on BBC Two. And A Chinese Ghost Story is probably one of the most famous films within this sort of genre of supernatural tales, which go into sort of Chinese folklore and mythology. It was released in 1987. It stars Leslie Chung and Joey Wong, and it's about a young a young man who is a tax collector or debt collector, and he goes from town to town trying to collect all of the debts that are owed to whoever, and he does it through a ledger that he has, a book that he has with all the names written down on it, and obviously everybody holds him with absolute contempt, and he's not a very forceful, aggressive guy, so a lot of people try to run circles around him. Whole bunch of sort of funny, haphazard things happen to him as he goes around these different towns in China. We're not given. I don't think we're given an exact date of when this is set, but certainly it was set at least a couple of hundred years ago. And the tax collector eventually gets to into a situation where he's in this town and he's looking for somewhere to stay, but he has no money. So he asks if there's anywhere he could stay for free for the night. And some people tell him rather mischievous, can't even say it, mischievously, they tell him to go and stay in an abandoned temple on the outskirts of the town, in this rather on the outskirts of this deep dark forest near the town. So he goes, and everyone thinks he's a bit of an idiot for going, and they all whisper in each other. They think that he's a goner if he goes here, because there are a lot of rumours and stories about what happens here. At the same time, we see that young men passing through that area are being led to their death. They are enticed by a beautiful woman, and then something horrible happens to them because of this. So obviously, the debt collector is in the same sort of situation where he is going there as a young man, and perhaps he will be led to his death by seemingly these spirits of women. That'll be my phone going. And so he goes to this temple. When he goes there, he finds that there is this old warrior who is living there as well, sort of meditating on his own. And he's actually there because he wants to combat the evil that is in the area, and he's also disconnected from society. He used to be like involved in judiciary matters. He was a judge of some kind, and he's really just can't deal with the evils of mankind, but he feels he can deal with the evils of the spirit world. So he's staying in this temple, and the debt collector comes there and stays, and he is enticed by this beautiful woman played by Joey Wong, and they actually fall in love. And she does not want him to die. She's used by this evil force to entice men to her, and then this evil force turns up and kills them or eats their soul or consumes them in some way. So the story really becomes it becomes a love story between the debt collector and the ghost of this woman, while this old warrior is trying to actually kill her and all the ghosts in the area. But there's this evil spirit, and we find out why this woman has been forced to, the ghost of this woman has been forced to do this, and it all involves the spirit world, and she's to be married off to this evil dark lord um, within the spirit world as well, and that's the main story. But the whole point of it is it's essentially it's a comedy. It's very funny. There's some great action scenes. There's a lot of makeup and special effects in this movie. Some of it, yeah, a little bit creaky. Some of it has aged a little bit. There's some stop motion animation in it that maybe isn't entirely brilliant, doesn't blend as well with the animatronics that they use and the makeup effects that they use alongside them. But I actually think that has a charm to it. I'm always saying that about like stop motion animation and things of that kind. So the film is beautifully shot, beautifully acted. Everybody's fantastic in it. There's a real chemistry between the two leads, and it's a very very funny film. It's exciting, and it actually has a connection. If you look at Mr. Vampire, which is the previous film that I talked about, which I think Mr. Vampire was that a Hong Kong film as well? I can't remember, but certainly A Chinese Ghost Story is a Hong Kong film, and both films actually have that element about these female ghosts that entice young men to either their death or to some horrible end, and it sort of explores that. But it is a love story. It's an adventure yarn, you know, and it's just so much fun. It's it's an absolute blast to watch, and I really cannot recommend it highly enough. If you get the chance to check it out, you really should. But it's certainly a classic of Hong Kong cinema, and it's absolutely a classic within the Chinese folklore genres. There have been a number of sequels. I'm really looking forward to watching the second one because the second one has everybody in it, I think, from the first film. So, and I've heard that it's quite good, although not a lot of people seem to have watched it in comparison to the original Chinese Ghost Story. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think there's a couple more after that, or at least one more Chinese Ghost Story Part 3, and there's also been, I think, a couple of pseudo remakes. One which was actually out just last year. So there's a lot there to get into and explore. But certainly the 1987 film A Chinese Ghost Story is just so much fun. There's great martial arts in it. There's great um, action scenes. There's just great effects, cinematography, everything that you could want in this kind of film is really fantastic. And my favourite character is definitely the old warrior. He's just wonderful, you know. And when you see him coming in, taking care of business, especially at the end, against like hordes of demon warriors against him and all that, you're just like, yeah, I'll be having some of that. So it's got those sort of exhilarating action moments as well. So definitely check that out. That's Chinese Ghost Story from 1987, and I'm really enjoying going through some of these films that I watched from that time, and I'll review some more of them in the future again. So as always, check out the Facebook page and the forums and the website, and if you get any suggestions, let me know. I don't know why I did that. It's as if I caught a fish this big. Yeah, this is going nowhere now. Go and check out A Chinese Ghost Story. Let me know what you think. Bye for now.